How many Giratina VSTAR were you able to purchase last year? At least one, right? At least one, right? Well, I'm here to drop some knowledge on you about one of the best cards you didn't know you needed and why. In today's video, we're going to talk about Giratina VSTAR and all of the powerful elements behind it and why it's such a great card going into April's rotation. Everyone's excited for the rotation here in April 2023, so if you want to get your hands on those cards, whether they're physical form or digital form, make sure you're hopping down below to check out all of our sponsor codes. That way you can save the most amount of money on these cards. Now, we do have other sponsors and affiliates too, so make sure you're checking them out for other awesome products here at the Shuffle Squad. Giratina had its claws in the meta, competing with cards like Origin Form Palkia VSTAR, as well as its arch nemesis Arceus VSTAR paired with Flying Pikachu VMAX. Now, the short time frame that this card was in popularity and saw success, we also saw its spin-off deck Lost Zone box come out of all the pieces and parts that made the Giratina VSTAR deck work, proving to be one of the most special and awesome cards to come out of the latest expansion at that time. For those who don't know anything about the deck, we're going to cover some key points of how the deck actually functions. First, we'll look at Comfy. Comfy has its flower selecting ability, which gets to look at the top two cards of your deck and put one into the Lost Zone, fueling your Lost Zone engine to get to the next point. We also have cards like Cramorant in here, which are able to attack for free using the Spit Innocently attack for 110 damage as long as you have 4 cards in the Lost Zone. The next card we'll also see in conjunction with this that seems to be one of the most powerful cards out of the Lost Origins expansion is Sableye, which reads for its secondary attack to put up to 12 damage counters anywhere on your opponent's board as long as you have at least 10 cards in here. Now, with this just being part of the deck, you can spread damage pretty much anywhere you want on the unsuspecting single prize Pokemon on your opponent's side, or just start to build up damage for a later knockout. The final element that really sets this deck apart is Mirage Gate. This item card can be used if there's only 7 cards in your Lost Zone, and you can search your deck for 2 basic energy of different types and attach it to your Pokemon in any way you choose, which is absolutely amazing, and that's why Giratina VSTAR works so well. Now, if we take a closer look at Giratina VSTAR, we can see that it has 2 attacks. The first attack for a grass, psychic, and colorless energy is Lost Impact. That does 280 damage. Now, you do have to put 2 energy attached to your Pokemon in the Lost Zone, but it can be Pokemon other than Giratina VSTAR. The secondary attack, Star Requiem, being its VSTAR power, is able to be used for a grass and a psychic energy, which is a super low cost. However, you can only use this attack if you have 10 or more cards in the Lost Zone. Your opponent's Pokemon is knocked out. That's it. That's the attack. Your opponent's Pokemon, similar to how Yveltal is able to just knock out a Pokemon with one single attack, this Pokemon can also do the same thing, which is absolutely insane with a deck that moves this fast. This card, in combination with the prior Lost Zone box that we just talked about, and its predecessor, just the Giratina V that can swing for 160 damage and shred through your opponent's Pokemon's abilities if they're blocking a V Pokemon from attacking, which is absolutely insane. This Pokemon is a powerhouse and can hit pretty much anywhere you want when you want them to, and you can clean up with the other Pokemon in this deck. The only downside being that you just have to be cautious on how you spend your energy, because you will have to inevitably put some into the Lost Zone. Now, it's one thing to know on top of the Lost Zone engine that Giratina can actually be played with another partner in Arceus VSTAR. If we take a look at Arceus V-Star, you can use the V-Star power in order to find any 2 cards in your deck, and we know that that's super powerful in the trading card game right now, but also being able to accelerate energy to it, plus using double turbo energy in a deck to just discard 1 card for the 2 energy cost that Giratina has in its attack, and putting that in the Lost Zone can be extra powerful. Now we can see this deck in a small post-rotation tournament taking over my place as the first place winner in the tournament. I came in second with just a standard Lost Zone box deck, but this deck here we can see dominating already in a small subset of cards. Now that we've gone over how Giratina V-Star works in the deck, let's take a look a little bit closer at how it's been competing, because we all know that after Giratina V-Star came Lugia V-Star. So why is this card relevant now? Why are we talking about it? Let's take a deeper dive. Now, looking towards April 14th's rotation here in the US, we want to see which decks are actually going to be competitive towards some of the new Scarlet and Violet cards that are coming out pretty soon. So we're looking at all of the prior cards and prior decks, how they're going to be more powerful going into this meta. If we take a look at the Japanese meta, we'll see that not only is Giratina a great deck, but it is one of the highest performing decks. So let's take a look at what it's done in the past to see what we can do in the future and hopefully make this a little bit more informative. Now, if we look into the Japanese meta at the Champions League held in Yokohama, Japan, right where the World Championships is going to be held later on this fall in 2023, we can see what this meta was like and actually take a look at the first place list. Now, hopping a little bit forward into the future, we can also see our very own Alex Szymanski piloting a Giratina V-Star Lost Zone box into the second place finish here at the Warsaw Regionals in Germany. Not only that, but we've seen multiple content creators with the likes of Luke Morsa or Jesse Parker and Andrew Mahone testing out decks like this. We're also able to take a look at some of the meta from Japan after rotation has hit for them, which is very interesting to see how Giratina has started to come into its own and be a huge powerhouse all over again. With the fall of a lot of the VMAXs and some of the V-Stars because they're losing their main engine for support, we see Giratina V-Star just coming through and even able to slot in a few extra techs to help out with some matchups. What matchups do you think that Giratina V-Star is best with? Let's take a look. Mew VMAX being one of the most powerful decks ever printed, having its own built-in draw support engine and smacking for massive damage as well. The only thing Giratina really has to do to pivot out of this is throw in a Drapion V, and it's really set because you're putting out so much damage. Drapion V just sets you apart and you're able to swing in, knock out these Pokemon. You can take one Mew VMAX out with Giratina's V-Star attack, and then you could take the other one out with Drapion to close out the game and take all 6 prizes. So Mew into Giratina is unfavored for the most part. The next deck we'll take a look at is Lost Zone Box, which is actually part of the Giratina V-Star deck in itself, but with it being a dragon type and not having a weakness, Lost Zone Box will have to pivot into these big beefy V-Star Pokemon over and over again. You can even play techs like Crystal Cave into the deck to remove damage from your dragon type Pokemon, which don't have any weakness. Absolutely insane. Giratina V-Star can really start swinging into these decks and also pivot into its own single prize attackers, which make the deck super powerful. Now, Gardevoir, we'll take a look at the fan favorite here. How is the matchup good against Gardevoir EX? Able to place all of the energy from your discard pile onto the board and flood it. You do take the downside of putting damage counters on yourself for doing that, but Giratina V-Star can just smack its way through. Again, able to pivot into single prize attackers. That's why Lugia V-Star is good here, and that's why we think Giratina V-Star has a great matchup into Gardevoir as well. We're gonna hop down Lightning Road and take a look at any of the Flaffy Engine boxes. How is the matchup here? I do think that Giratina takes a 50-50 depending on how these Lightning box decks are going to be built. But really, if we're seeing more of the higher prize taking Pokemon, being your Vs, VMAXs, EXs, anything like that, Giratina might be able to just swing some knockouts, take out some VMAX Pokemon, and win the prize trade. So it is dependent on how this is going to be played, whether it's single prize or the bigger 2 to 3 prize Pokemon. We'll have to see how that meta shapes up once we do get these cards in April. Now, a big point I want to make here is that Giratina VSTAR, while it's not so popular currently, going into the future, or maybe even testing out the deck now to get yourself prepared for the rotation in April 2023, this card is a fantastic pickup. Now, the VSTAR is roughly $8 US, and if you're able to pick up at least 3 of these, I think that buying the full 3-3 line could run you anywhere between a $30 mark for a high tier deck. Even the deck as a whole with the Lost Zone engine is showing somewhere around the $45 range. So if we're looking down a path where Giratina comes into the limelight again and is staying in its high power seat it deserves, we want to make sure that you're capitalizing on the low cost currently before rotation. So we've covered some other decks here and other ideas in our post-rotation buy list video, which I'll link here below, but make sure you're taking a look at all of the deck lists we've posted here in the video. Pause, go back and rewind. You could take a look at that. I'll leave a link to the Japanese website that we also use to find some of these deck profiles, so maybe you can take some decks into consideration. With all that being said, thank you so much for watching this video. Let us know what your thoughts on Giratina VSTAR are for the future. Tell us in the comments below, hit the like button, and hit the subscribe button if you want to get notified on any other upcoming Shuffle Squad videos here on the channel. This is PJ signing off for TSS. Keep on shuffling, everybody. We'll see you next time. The Shuffle Squad is proudly sponsored by Atlas Collectibles, the best place to buy any trading card game product online. Visit atlastcg.com and at the checkout screen make sure to use code TSS12 to save an unbeatable 12% off your entire order. Atlas Collectibles will ship your product anywhere in the world, so make sure you're taking advantage of the 12% savings with TSS12. And if Pokemon is not your thing, don't worry. Go to atlastcg.com and see all the other amazing trading card game products they have there to offer.
The Shuffle Squad is partnered with PTC VSTAR to provide our community with the best access to Pokemon TCG codes. They have codes available 24/7, instant email delivery, and you can save 5% off by using code TSS5. If you're a YouTube member or Patreon supporter, you'll have access to a special code that gets you 10% off. So what are you waiting for? Use code TSS5 today and save 5% on your next order of codes on any codes available at ptcgeostore.com.
Are you trying to be the best like no one ever was? Now is your time. Head on over to Metafy.gg and search out all our amazing Pokemon TCG coaches, where you can book all sorts of training plans ranging from deck help to full season sessions with your favorite coach. What a great way to up your game. Check out Metafy.gg in the description below and take your game to the next level.
PokeXword, the best place to get your fill of Pokemon-inspired puzzles. New puzzles are posted every day, and they recently launched a new Guess That Pokemon puzzle, which is a ton of fun to play. Go check them out at PokeXword.com and be sure to follow them on Twitter for your chance to win a ton of PTCGO codes every month.
Challenge yourself against trainers from around the world to compete for the biggest online prizing yet.
Are you ready for an unbelievable tournament unlike anything else you've ever seen before? The Shuffle Squad is proud to announce our newest tournament series, the Late Night Event, with an amazing grand prize that's bound to have you excited.
Players can compete via play.limitless.tcg.com's online tournament platform every Tuesday to get a chance to earn weekly prizes. And every week, your placement in the tournament is tallied by points based on your best finishes to earn your rank for the Late Night Invitational event.
The series will be conducted starting February 7th of 2023 and carry all the way through to the Invitational on July 9th of 2023, where the top players will be rewarded the grand prizing.
And the grand prize is a signed jersey and photo op with the entire Shuffle Squad, as well as a fully paid trip to the Pokemon World Championships in Yokohama, Japan. This includes hotel and airfare, whether you're a player or a spectator.
Don't forget to check out all the live coverage on our YouTube and Twitch channel of the top cuts of these events for every week. And subscribe so you can get notified where to watch the Late Night Events Invitational brought to you by the Shuffle Squad. Now get out there and start winning. We'll see you in Japan.